Food waste is becoming a nationally and globally recognized problem. In the United States in 2018, over 63 million tons of food was wasted over the course of a year. That represents something on the order of 35 to 40% of all the food that is generated is wasted. Just like the environmental problems, the economic problems are that we grow and process food for which we do not get economic gain. Part of the reason that New York State is focusing on both food donations and food recycling comes from the EPA's food waste hierarchy. And it's just like you might have heard from solid waste, reduce, reuse, recycle. It's the same sort of idea. So the first thing you want to do with your food waste is just not waste it in the first place. So source reduction. So that means taking care of your inventory control and, for example, eating the leftovers in your refrigerator rather than throwing them out. So if you don't generate food waste to begin with, that's the best thing you can do. The next best thing you can do is to feed people. So any food that is still edible, but maybe you don't have somebody to serve it to immediately, if you could get that to somebody who might be food insecure and could really benefit from that edible food, but that doesn't have an immediate person to eat it. And then it goes down to feeding animals, doing things like anaerobic digestion, from which we get biogas, which is an energy source, and a nutrient-rich wastewater from the anaerobic digester. That's the next step on the food waste hierarchy. Composting, and then the last thing we want to do is to send it to a landfill. So those were listed in order of highest priority to lowest priority. In New York State, there's a new law that requires large generators of food waste to not landfill their food waste anymore starting in January 2022. For example, Clarkson University is considered a large quantity generator. We generate more than 2 tons of food waste per week. So in northern New York, we've got a couple of issues, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that we're a very rural community. So we don't have some of the support infrastructure that a more urban area would have that enables sustainable food waste management. So for example, there are no community scale commercial food recycling entities in this region. The other problem with donations is that we don't have the food bank structure that you might have in a city. So our local food bank is in Syracuse, which is really too far away from us to send our donations from example, a grocery store to the food bank. So they go straight to a local food pantry instead. So about a year ago, Clarkson University, on behalf of the Potsdam Climate Smart Community Task Force, received a grant from the New York State Pollution Prevention Institute, what we call the P2I. So the small grant that we received was to really explore what some options might be in the Potsdam area to create a sustainable food waste management program.
The generators do not know what they're generating, so they couldn't estimate like a real number about food waste. We could understand that they were willing to learn more about how to have like a more sustainable food waste management in their places.
The practical challenge when it comes to food waste for our restaurants is cost issue. And when we're scraping peelings, when we have to throw away something out of the walk-in because it went past an expiration date, that's a waste, that's a food cost that drives our bottom line up and our profits down. So it's critical to our success.
The solutions really are to have the infrastructure in the area to manage our food waste. It's not feasible for every grocery store and restaurant to have a compost system in their backyard. But it would be great if they could separate their food waste at their facilities for somebody else to pick up and then to manage. And on the food recovery side, what do we do with edible food? Make sure that more of that edible food really gets to the food insecure people in our region.